All right. Hey, folks. Gonna get this thing started here. Let's bring our background music down a little bit to the background and push my voice forward a little bit. Let's check in on my volume. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Push my voice forward a little bit. Let's check in on my... Yeah, it sounds like my volume's looking pretty good, so I can drop that down there. Let's fix my screen. Boop. There we go. Hey, guys. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And we're creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Specifically the martial powers system for giving marshals a mana source that they can use to expend on exploits, maneuvers, and stuff. The playtest document that we're using today is located right here, the martial powers plus color mana playtest document. It'll be read-only for anyone out there in the audience that checks this out, but it will eventually be on the DMsGuild like everything else that I build. I've been building content on the DMsGuild since 2018. The color mana spell point variant rules for converting D&D spellcasting into the color mana system is on this link here. And here's a bunch of books I've created. They all have free previews. We've walked through these a number of times in previous streams, but basically 5-color system has, from Magic the Gathering, white, blue, black, red, green. Those are the 5 colors that define Magic instead of 8 schools of Magic from Dungeons & Dragons. This is roughly what these colors mean in some terms that are relevant to D&D game mechanics, like divinity, healing, light, protection, restraint for white, while black is like control, entropy, fear, soul, and darkness, and green is animals, healing, plants, natures, and spirits. So you can see like spirits and soul and divinity are all kind of the same flavor. They're like the same idea, but they're different colors, so they get things done differently. But when we look at the color, and here's the types of damage that are in D&D and the 5 colors that, what these types of damage are devoted to, depending on, like if you look at a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards, you'll see things with acid tend to be blue or green. Things that are necrotic or undead by nature tend to be black. Lightning and fire, those tend to be a red thing. But you can see here like thunder is like blue for like sky magic, right? Or like wind, and red because of, well, storms and impact, shuddering, and then green because of nature. So like this is the matrix that we come up with, and each color has 4 different types of damage that's relevant to it. So when you combine damage types and aspects of what a spell will do, we come up with a color matrix of what each spell is devoted to. So you can see like acid splash is naturally devoted to black and green because it's acid damage. But we get down to like prestidigitation is prestidigitation. We have listed as a blue spell because it's manipulating. It's manipulation and control. So in this case, effects, minor effects. So these are cantrips. They don't actually cost any mana. This color is just a descriptive identity for magic that doesn't cost any resources to use, right? Like, so in this same sense, like a displacer beast, for an instance, which can create an illusion of itself, could be a blue-green or blue, yeah, probably like a blue-green creature. It's an animal that has illusionary capabilities that would make it like a blue-green type identity creature. When we get into actual spell casting, we have a mana system, and the mana system is 1 point per level of spell cast. So first level spell costs 1 point, 9th level spell costs 9 points. It's a linear progression, and our casters get considerably less mana than the DMG would have. Drop down here into the color mana spell point variant rule system and open up its preview. We can see a quick table here. We're going to be updating all of these mechanics for characters and DMs using 2024 mechanics. That's going to be our next big project, alongside a number of other things that we're working on. But you can see down here, like your full casting, half casting, and then like the Eldritch Knight, Arcane Trickster, Monk, Warlock have this like third casting or minor casting identity. So on a long rest, a full caster has 80 mana. A 9th level spell costs 9 points, 8th level 8 points, 7th level 7 points, 6th level 6 points. Add those together, that's 30 points. So essentially, on a long rest, a full caster at 20th level has effectively 50 mana, and then 30 points of those mana are going to go to your 6th through 9th level high magic spells, right? So in reality, of your 1st to 5th level spells, you have about 50 mana that you're going to be able to spend on in a day. Compared to the half-caster, which has 40 mana that they get at 20th level, and the maximum spell they could ever cast is 5th level. So the full caster has 10 points more than the half caster has when we're casting spells level 1 to 5. Of course, the full caster could decide not to cast high magic and have 80 points to spend on spells level 1 to 5, but because they're full casters, they have that option to ramp up into the higher magic. Eldritch Knights, Arcane Tricksters, they get 1 per level, the same progression as we get for monks, 1 per level. Those come back on a short rest with the default system. Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters, they don't get mana back except for a long rest. And these are spellcasters. So you have, like, if you want to spend 8 points to cast an 8th level spell, then you would take it out of, like, at 15th level, you'd have 56 points. So after casting that 8th level spell, you'd have 48 points left. You could, if you are... you could then cast a 6th level spell for an extra 6 points. That'll take you down to 42 points, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the basic of the mana mechanics, where you spend 1 spell point per level, and it has a color identity that you basically relate to the spell. The book has this list here that's available for folks, is providing the default color for all the spells, and you can see that some spells have multiple colors. So like if I wanted to cast Burning Hands, for instance, Burning Hands is a great one. That's a fire spell. It requires, it's a red spell. So if you're using if you're just using a pool of spell points and you're just describing the magic, that's a soft magic description system. But if you want to give it more tooth and more mechanics, when you have a mana pool, whenever you finish a rest, either a short rest or a long rest, you then devote each point in your mana pool to a specific color. So if I wanted to cast Burning Hands, I would have to spend 1 point of mana, and that point has to be red. If I don't have any red mana left in my mana pool, I can't cast red spells until I take some sort of a rest, so that I can change the devotion of my mana to be red, so I can cast that spell again. So it's a really easy system. If like instead I wanted to cast Create or Destroy Water, that's both a blue and a green spell. So I have to spend 1 point of mana, and it can be either blue or green. So it's flexible. And if you have a color identity, like being, say, Rakdos, which is black and red mana specifically, if I wanted to have my character show a high level of devotion to Rakdos, then I would only have red and black mana, which means I wouldn't be able to cast something like Create or Destroy Water. So I would then either need to research the spell during downtime, perhaps at my guild, giving me a reason to gain renown with my guild, so they'll let me use the library, so that I could research any particular spell that I want to prepare to be the color that I want it to be with time and effort. Otherwise, if I'm on the fly and I'm a cleric that's devoted to Rakdos, but I want to cast Create or Destroy Water, or hell, if I'm a Rakdos priest that only has black and red magic, but I want to cast Cure Wounds, and I haven't researched that spell to be like red or black or whatever color it is that I want, I could prepare the spell so it's naturally white and green. I can't use it, but then I could prepare it again so it's the color that I want it to be. So I prepare it once as its normal, its natural devotion of white and green, and then I prepare it a second time so that it is now a black spell when I cast it. So I can use my black-red identity as Rakdos, still have access to all the spells in the game, but because I haven't spent the time to research it or to otherwise find a way to get that spell in my book, I have to sacrifice verisimilitude and flexibility in spellcasting so that I only have to use specific colors. If I was playing like in a Dominaria campaign, or like, I don't know, Kalashtar or whatever, not Kalashtar, Kaladin, or Kalashtar, I think. Is that? Anyway, if I'm in like a Dominaria, a wizard could be, there is no color identities, it's just magic has 5 colors, choose what you want. A wizard could then decide what spells do they want to select for the day, and then depending on that selection, that's when they'll decide, well, I want to cast Web today,
So I should probably have, like, say, 3 points of green available to my character. If I'm going to cast a higher than first level spell, only 1 point has to be devoted. So, like, if I wanted to cast Bark Skin, which is a second level spell, oh, look, there's a dot there. I need to fix that. If I go to Bark Skin, second level spell, it's green. I have to spend 1 point of green, and then the other point could be whatever I want. So if I have, like, blue and green mana, I can spend 1 point of green and 1 point of blue, or 2 points of green. But 1 point has to be a color. So, like, if I wanted to cast Branding Smite, which is a white and red spell, it's second level, I could cast it with 1 red and 1 green. I could cast it with a white and red mana. I could use 2 white mana, white and black, as long as 1 color. And that when you prepare a spell to change its color, you just choose what color it is that you want it to be. That way it can comply with your mana pool. And a higher level character with more renown in their guild or in their school, if you're playing like Strixhaven, or higher piety with a god with a color identity if you're playing Theros. Like if I'm playing a cleric devoted to Eroa, then the higher piety I gain with Eroa as a god, which has white and red identity, the more spells I can naturally prepare as a cleric of Eroa to automatically be white or red mana instead of, like, say, green or blue. So all these different Magic the Gathering settings that Wizards has put out has internal mechanics that allow us, I mean, we had to make them up ourselves because they didn't take us to color mana, we had to build it ourselves. But there are structures inside of each of the Magic the Gathering games, the renown, piety, and college credits that can be used to gain access to higher level spells or not have to spend as much time researching them, or to be able to cheat spells into the color that you want. It's like a Prismari character in Strixhaven, which uses only blue, black and green, blue and red magic. The more credits you get in your college, the more access to the library you get, so that during your downtime you can research more and more spells to line up with your blue-red identity of Prismari. So that's the system. And that's great for spellcasters, but it doesn't do anything for martial characters. Like, why would a barbarian want to go to Strixhaven as a school? So what we've done is we've created the Martial Power System, which is a mana system for all the characters. If you're a spellcaster, you can continue to use that system as listed. If you're a half caster, you can use that system as listed as a half caster. But all the half casters and the marshals now have a mana source as well that allow us to not necessarily cast spells, but to channel powers, which we've spent a lot of time here on stream. If you want to check previous episodes, you're welcome to do so. And honestly, if you think this stuff is interesting, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications to get notifications of when we are live in the future, because Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays we do game design, and then Monday through Friday in the mornings we do artwork for the books that we design, and then we publish them, and then we move on to the next book. I'm almost finished with an Eberron adventure. When we do, we'll be able to make this color mana martial power system a primary focus, and that we can start developing stuff in the mornings, like art assets and tokens and all the things, all the tools that we need to make the game run smoothly. We can start building those in the morning while we continue to refine this project in the evening. So, martial powers, like we're going to work on the monk today. A monk already has a mana source that they've changed the name from key to focus points in 2024, and you get those back on a short rest, 1 to 20. There you go. All of the characters using this system, like instead of the paladin, ranger, and artificer, instead of using 40 points at 20th level on a long rest, it's 20 points on a short rest. So it's leaning into the idea of being able to, like, literally go all day, just give me a rest. And to balance against these, all of the full casters can regain a number of points when they take a short rest as well. And that number is based off of the arcane recovery. Take a short rest, gain a number of points of mana back equal to the maximum level spell you can cast. So if a 6th level cleric takes a short rest, they can get 3 points of mana back, because at 6th level cleric, the maximum spell level you can cast is 3. So every time they take a short rest, they get 3 points back. Meanwhile, but they would have a pocket of like at 6th level. I think you have 20 points of mana. So you'd start off with 20 points, and every time you take a short rest, you'd get 3, as opposed to a half caster, which would be at, or rather a martial character using the short rest system at 6th level. I'd get 6 mana after my long rest, and then when you take a short rest, I'll get 6 more mana, so I have 12 mana over the course of a day with 1 short rest in it, while the full casters would have, in this instance, 23 mana over the course of a long rest and a short rest. So they get 23 mana. Our martial characters get 12. It's about half. It works out really nicely. So it's pretty convenient. Let's see. Okay, great. So yeah, so all of the martials and the half casters now use a short rest mana pool. We have a martial arts die on the monk, but all the characters also get a power die, which is a D6, D8, D10 at 17th level. And like if you're using a power that, like if I spend 1 mana, I can increase the result. I can add a power die to my ability check to climb this wall or to stealth or whatever. So I would spend the mana, I'd roll a D6, and then I would add that to my result. There you go. At 9th level, if I spend a point, I would roll a D8. At 17th level, if I spend a point, I'd roll a D10. And the system works that when I'm dealing, and the maximum amount of mana I can spend at a time is at the half casting progression, 1 at first. Second rank powers up to 2 mana spent at a time at 5th level. Cap 3 mana at a time at 9th level, and I can channel 3rd rank powers. 13th level is 4 and maximum 4, and then at 17 I cap with 5. So when I'm dealing damage, when I spend mana, I add up all the results and add that to my initial damage. Like if I hit you with a dagger for 6 points of damage after stats, and then I pump 5 points of mana in as a 17th level character, I'm going to do those 7 points from the dagger plus an extra 5d10 from the magic that I dump into it. So, but when we're doing a d20 test, like affecting an ability score, like an ability check, a saving throw, or an attack roll, if I were to pump 5 mana as a 17th level into adjusting that ability check, it wouldn't be add 5d10 dice. 3rd edition did that with epic levels, and it's not necessary. The bounded accuracy curve of D&D 5e is 10 to 30, 10 being very easy, 30 being nearly impossible. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5 ranks of difficulty, 10 being easy, 30 being nearly impossible, and 15 being difficult but not impossible. Then you have 20. So it's 10, 20, 30. And then 15 is like in the space between 10 and 20. 25 is in the space between 20 and 30. So easy but has consequences, moderate difficulty, and then nearly impossible. Those are your 3 basic scales, and you split them again. So rank of 5. So if I spend 5 mana, I would roll 5 10-sided dice and keep the best result, which means that 4 of those dice that I burned aren't being used. That's a waste of mana. Maybe I didn't actually need to spend 5 mana on this ability check, but that's something that you get to decide yourself as a player, to decide how much mana do I want to spend on accomplishing this task versus like maybe it's like I only need to get 2, so I'm just going to roll 1-sided die, and if that gives me the extra 2 that I want, then fantastic. That was a single point that I spent. Spending 5 mana to gain +2 on a d10, you'll figure out your own math, but that's the fun of it, figuring out your own math about how you want to risk reward. This mana, and so the monk, instead of using the D6, D8, D10 progression, the monk gets to use, scoot that over, I'm in the wrong, martial powers, where am I? I feel like I just got lost. Class disciplines, resume. Oh wow, I accidentally tapped the document to the bottom. Oops. Let's see. There we go. I need to go find the monk again. But the monk can uses their martial arts die instead of. Get back up here to. This is the Warlock.
rogue, ranger, paladin, monk. Here we go. So the monk has a martial arts die, and you use that as your power die. So at first level, it's the same as here, D6. At level 5, it becomes a D10. At level 11, it becomes a D8 and then D10 versus a D8 at 9th level and a D10 at 17. And then the monk gets at 17th level, they get the D12. So monks are better at channeling power than any of the other martial classes. The Battle Master fighter also gets to use, when you take the Battle Master subclass at 3rd level, you use a D8. And then at 9th level, it's a D10, and at 17th level, it's a D12. So the Battle Master and the Monk have the best power dies in the game, which I think is appropriate. I think that's good ludo narrative there. Let's see. So we're going to go through the feats. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with the system, and we spent a lot of time walking through all that stuff last session. I just want to kind of get to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through all the features about the monk in 2024, and most of them have been altered by using mana. So we have to look at the exceptions and modifications that we've made to the monk's abilities to use mana, so that when we get into the subclasses, we have a better understanding of what these subclasses are using to do what they can do. So without further ado, we'll go into it. So level 1, channeling. Starting at 1st level, you gain the channeling class feature. You can use dexterity, strength, dexterity, or wisdom as your channeling ability score. Channeling DC in general is DC 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your ability modifier, which would be, like for the monk, probably dexterity would be best to take. But you can, like, if you're planning on multi-classing into a divine caster, then go wisdom. If you want to lean into a fighter build with your monk, then go strength if you want, or stay dexterity. It's up to you. You can flex it around. Beginning at 1st level, you also learn 4 first rank powers from the martial powers list. You gain additional powers as you gain levels up to your maximum channeling rank as listed in the martial powers progression table. You can swap one prepared power for another when you finish a long rest, and you can swap all prepared powers when you gain a level. That's a common theme that I have for all characters that aren't cleric, druid, or wizard. Cleric, druid, wizard can swap out all their prepared spells whenever they finish a long rest. Everyone else is swap. You can swap. And you can swap all prepared powers. When you gain a level. There we go. And then fighting styles and weapon masteries can be prepared as meta powers, but are not automatically gained as class features. That doesn't really matter for the monk because they don't get fighting styles and weapon masteries in 5e24 as written, which I think is a damn shame. So let's go look at the different types of powers that exist. So there are 5 disciplines of power. There are 3 types of meta powers, and there's 5 disciplines of martial powers. I haven't figured out exactly which one to list first, the meta powers or the disciplines. But as it stands, disciplines are broken into 5 categories. Exploits modify actions and die rolls. Maneuvers are actions, and bonus are magic actions. And bonus actions you can take. Reactions are triggered by various circumstances. Strikes are channeled when you hit with a weapon, and sustained powers are channeled as magic actions. And bonus actions to alter and enhance yourself, kind of like self-buffing spells, but they don't require concentration. So exploits are instant effects that modify die rolls or actions that you take. When you use an exploit to add a power die to the result of a d20 ability check, attack, or saving throw, you can roll 1 power die for each mana spent after rolling the check, but before determining the result is success. Add the highest power die result to the d20 test and discard the remaining power dice. For example, if you channel 2 mana into 1 exploit or channel 2 separate exploits that add 1 power die per mana to an ability check, you would roll 2 power dice and add the highest result, not both. See how that works? Even if I were to channel 2 separate exploits that could modify the same ability check that I'm making,
regardless of how much mana I spend across different things, I can still only keep the best result. And I can still only spend up to my mana limit for that ability check. Exploits can affect die rolls and other actions triggered by other powers. For example, if a power would allow you to make an attack as a bonus action or a reaction, an exploit that increases the result of the attack roll can be channeled during that attack as a separate effect. Kickers further modify. So there's also things called kickers, which further modify individual powers. When using a kicker effect, it's considered to be an exploit, but does not benefit from efficient power or efficient channeling, which we'll talk about later. Maneuver powers are instant effects that can be channeled as a magic action or a bonus action, or both, channeling the same power twice in the same round if you wanted to. Many maneuvers affect targets with ongoing effects. You don't maintain concentration on these effects. Rather, they remain in effect until the circumstances each maneuver describes occurs. For example, many powers end at the beginning of your next turn, and others end when the target succeeds a saving throw against the effect. Otherwise, all maneuvers end after 1 minute. Reaction powers are instant effects that can be channeled as a reaction that triggers when specific circumstances occur, as described in each reaction power. Only one reaction power can be used in response to a triggering circumstance, even if multiple reactions can be triggered, and you can only take one reaction during a turn. Opportunity attacks. When you make an opportunity attack or can make a weapon attack as a reaction, you can channel a strike power as part of the damage to your hit. So strike powers are instant effects that trigger when you hit with a weapon attack. It has to be a weapon attack, which includes unarmed strikes and natural weapons, but they're weapons nonetheless. You can channel mana to deal additional damage and target the creature hit with the strike's effect. The additional damage is doubled when it's channeled with a critical hit. You can channel strike powers anytime you hit with a weapon attack if you have mana to do so. So you can, like, if I have 3 attacks this round, I can channel mana like a 2014 Paladin could. At any time I hit with a weapon attack, I could dump power to deal more damage if I want to. Similar to how casters can't cast a cantrip and spell at the same time, strike powers cannot be channeled when you use a combat mastery unless the power or feature specifies otherwise. Strike effects automatically end after one effect. I should probably put this first. Here, let's rearrange that real quick. There, like that. Strike effects automatically end after 1 minute of affecting the target unless the strike specifies otherwise. Whenever a target is affected by a new instance of the same effect or a similar condition, the duration renews and the DC to end the most recent instant of the effect replaces the previous, even if it's lower. That keeps things simple for bookkeeping. If I have you blinded right now with a blinding strike and my DC is 15, it'd be the wizard only has a DC 14 for whatever reason, has a DC 14 when they cast the blindness spell. If they cast the blindness spell, it'll get rid of my blinding strike effect. The DC lowers to 14, but the duration is renewed, so it could last longer with the blinding spell as opposed to a blinding strike power. Sustained powers can be channeled as magic actions or bonus actions unless the description indicates otherwise. Multiple powers can be sustained simultaneously. The total ranks of power that can be sustained simultaneously is equal to your character's maximum rank of power, unless a feature or power indicates otherwise. These powers do not require concentration to sustain and remain active until dismissed during your turn as a free action or as a reaction when it's not your turn. Until dismissed. At any time. I'm going to upgrade this. At any time, no action required. That's how 5e24 works now. A sustained power also ends when it is successfully dispelled, when you start a long rest, or become incapacitated. Mana channeled to sustain a power remains in use while the power remains active and cannot be regained until the power ends. So if I have 3 points of mana sustaining powers and I've got 9 mana in my mana pool, if I take I'm now at 0 mana. If I take a short rest, I won't get all 9 points back. I'll get 6 points back because the other 3 are still being used to sustain powers. That way I'm not double dipping like Warlock could in 2014. Some powers describe special effects gained when spending additional mana, such as the empowered ability sustain power. Kickers are added costs that modify the effects of the power as detailed in each description. Kicker costs are considered exploits that can use temporary mana, but not the efficient power feat. I think I have kickers up here already. Yeah, kickers. I don't need to have kicker cost here listed separately. So like there's some powers like spend 1 mana to like for example bonus attack. Spend 1 mana and I can make a weapon attack as a bonus action. If I use the kicker cost of 2 extra mana, I can make 2 attacks instead of 1. That's effectively the Monk's Flurry of Blows feature, but Monk only spends 1 point and can access it as early as it can access it at second level. While a 2 mana cost I can't get access to until 5th level. So my 5th level fighter can Flurry of Blows like a monk can, but I can't do it until 5th level, and it's going to cost me 3 mana instead of 1 to do it. So obviously if you want to be a Flurry of Blows kind of guy, you should go into monk or multi-class into monk to at least 2nd level to get access to it, and then go back to fighter and keep progressing your fighter levels up to 18 if you want to. Multi-classing is highly encouraged in this system, and everything is designed to work together, including spellcasting. It all works together in any combination of spell casting and power multi-class combinations to make any kind of Gish type character that you want. It's super fun. Empowered actions. If we spend action economy, we get free mana in combat. So if I sacrifice an attack during combat, I get a point of mana. If I sacrifice an 11th level fighter sacrifices 3 attacks, I get 3 mana. To temporary points that I can expend. It's any color that I want, and I keep those points until the beginning. I dump the mana, and I refresh all my action economy. So if I want to do like a big hit as a reaction to something, I could dump all my attacks, not make any attacks this turn, and pocket that mana so that when I take my reaction, I can then use the mana there, and it won't actually come out of my mana pool. Since this empowered actions are only usable during combat, I can keep my mana pool during exploration and social encounters to modify my perception, like my ability to sense things, my mobility, or my D20 tests to interact with the environment and NPCs. So I can keep my mana pool for boosting out of combat stuff and use my action economy to get free mana during combat. Sacrificing my actions reduces the number of decisions that I have to make during my turn. If my 11th level fighter hits with my first attack and I just want to dump a bunch of mana into killing whatever it is I just hit, I could sacrifice my other attacks to get free mana to dump in the extra dice of damage to automatically ramp up the damage I deal to kill that threat more quickly. Bonus actions can be sacrificed. Level 1 you get 1 point, level 9 you get 2 points, level 17 you get 3 points. You can sacrifice your reaction to gain 1 temporary point, and the rogue can sacrifice movement to generate a point of mana as well. So if I get rid of my movement action this turn, my rogue can also generate mana. So, but the rogue wants to be mobile, right? So there you go. Actions can be spent any time during any turn. And then the different types of... So those are the different types of power. That's action economy that you can sacrifice to generate mana for those powers. We'll skip past duration and targeting, visual effects, and all the magical stuff. Forced movement triggers opportunity attacks. So if I push you 30 feet and you pass through my ally's weapon attack reach, I can make an attack of opportunity as you go by. Potentially punting you in another direction for somebody else to hit so you can ping pong people. The monsters can do this too, so it makes battlefields far more dynamic. Highly recommend you try it. Here's all of the... There's a total of 198 powers in this book. 126 of them require mana. And then the other powers, the meta powers, don't cost any mana. So meta powers include combat masteries, which are preparing combat masteries on weapons. Martial characters are automatically proficient, with the masteries associated with each weapon they're proficient with. So if I use a heavy crossbow and I'm proficient with it as a martial character, I can automatically use the push mastery because it's part of the heavy crossbow. But if I wanted to prepare push as one of my powers, then it's a cantrip effect, right? It doesn't cost any mana, but it causes an effect like a strike power does. So I can't use a strike when I use a mastery, but the mastery with any weapon, like a dagger, my fist, the heavy crossbow, of course, I could push, and when I hit the target, I can then push them 10 feet. So that's basically how preparing weapon masteries work. Assuming, like for example, if I want to prepare the Nick mastery, it will still only work if I'm dual wielding light weapons or including natural and unarmed attacks. So my monk can always use Nick in flurry of blows if I wanted to. So when making while dual wielding and making the extra attack, like my second level monk could use a point of mana to do a flurry of blows for 2 attacks. And then continuing to use my fists, I could hit you, and then I could use the Nick property with my fist to hit you with my other fist. So a second level monk spending a point of mana with the Nick mastery can make 4 attacks in a round. The monk has the absolute most amounts of attacks until the fighter rivals them at 20th level. So that's how masteries work. We can also prepare feats as powers. So if I don't want to if I don't want to prepare a bunch of powers that require spending mana, and I don't want to mess with any of that, I want to have a simple fighter, then using the system, ignore your mana pool, and instead just take a bunch of feats. There's 48 of them here. At first level, we can take origin feats and fighter feats. Notice how skilled is not one of the origin feats that are available for us to prepare. All the fighting style feats. And then at 5th level, we can prepare general feats, and when we do, we don't gain the ability modifier, but we don't have any prerequisites either. So all of the cool goody feats that you're going to want, you can start picking up as prepared powers at 5th level, and then you can start saving all of your actual ability score improvements at 4, 8, 12, 16, and for the fighters 6 and 10 as well. You can actually increase your stats with your feats from your class feats, and then just prepare the abilities that you want from these general feats. And then epic boons, we can gain a very limited selection of epic boons at 17th level when we have access to 5th rank powers. So otherwise we don't get access to it until 19th level. We don't gain any ability score improvements, and we don't have to worry about any of the prerequisites for these epic boons. But these epic boons are basically limited to resistance, speed, perception, teleportation, and hitting with attacks. Like, that's a very small selection of boons that are available, but you'll notice like none of them allow us to gain magic or whatever. They're very limited. The efficient power fighting style, we're calling it a fighting style, but in reality, how it works is when we select a power, choose a one exploit, maneuver, or reaction power that you have prepared from the disciplines list when you select this feat. When you channel the chosen power, like say bonus attack is a first rank maneuver that allows me to make a weapon attack as a bonus action for 1 mana. So I could choose that as my maneuver. And when I channel the bonus attack power, I gain 1 temporary point of mana that can be expended in combination with any other source of mana or temporary mana to channel the chosen power. So the bonus action is a first rank power. When I channel that to make an attack with a bonus action, it pays that 1 point of mana for me. So I don't actually have to spend any mana. So by basically preparing a power twice, I can make a first rank power effectively a feat or a cantrip. It doesn't cost me any mana to use it, and I can use it literally all day. And you get 4 powers at first level. So if you wanted to, you could take your 2 favorite first rank powers, make them efficient, and now you don't have to spend any mana because you want to keep your character simple. Or you could select an array of different powers and spend your point of mana on it and use your action economy to generate mana during your turn to use those powers over and over again in combat. And then there's alternate damage types. I could prepare acid damage. as a power. So whenever I hit with a weapon attack, I'll deal acid damage instead of like bludgeoning damage. And at 5th level, I can make it force. Like a monk naturally has all unarmed attacks or force damage starting at 6th level. I could prepare that. My fighter could prepare that at 5th level, eat up one of my prepared powers, and now I can also always deal force damage when I hit with a weapon attack. So it's doing what other classes can do, often not as good as others, sometimes just as good or at different levels, but basically this makes a net of abilities that various classes get and gives them a point value that you could then prepare. Like you can pick up evasion as a second rank power reaction. Whenever you make a saving throw to reduce damage, you could spend 2 mana, and if you succeed, 0 damage. If you fail, half damage. But it costs you 2 mana to do that. It's a reaction, so if I wanted to, I could make it an efficient power so that when I use evasion as a fighter, I could reduce its cost by preparing it twice, and now it only costs me 1 mana to utilize that. So, but it's still costing me mana to do so. You see, first rank powers can become free, but all the other high level powers can't. It's still going to cost you mana, so you have to make decisions. Am I going to use this for my mana pool, or am I going to sacrifice some action economy to generate the mana for free? Just depends on how you want to run your character. You build your deck any way that you want, and you can customize it on a daily basis to have your characters evolve with the threats that you're dealing with in your campaign. So that's the context of these things. So martial arts, the monk, 1st level, martial arts, unarmed attacks, natural weapons, and any melee weapon you're proficient with that doesn't have the heavy property is a monk weapon, which gains the following benefits when not wearing armor or wielding a shield. You can use your strength, dexterity, or wisdom modifier for attack and damage rolls. You can roll a d6 in place of the normal damage of any monk weapon. This die changes as you gain monk levels, as shown on the martial arts side, eventually becoming a dagger will eventually do a d12 in your hands. Whenever you hit with an unarmed attack, you can choose to deal bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. Your unarmed and natural weapon attacks are considered to be weapons worth 1 or more silver pieces for use with spells, feats, and features. So, like, I can use the Crusher feat, or I could use, Steel Wind Strike with, like, an unarmed monk could use Steel Wind Strike with fists because they're considered to have a monetary value, which is the only qualification needed for Steel Wind Strike. You always have the grapple and topple masteries prepared. We were talking about masteries earlier. And you can use a bonus action to make an attack with a monk weapon. That's the bonus attack power, but the monk gets it for free at 1st level. 1st level, unarmed defense. When you aren't wearing armor or wielding a shield, your base armor class equals 10 plus your dexterity plus your wisdom modifiers. Uncanny metabolism. When you roll initiative, you can regain an amount of mana equal to your monk level. When you do so, roll your martial arts die and regain a number of hit points equal to your monk level, plus the number rolled. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So uncanny metabolism is a way for all the classes have ways to cheat more mana into their mana pool, like to recover mana in different, like the fighter can use second wind. The barbarian can expend hit dice and gain back mana as well as hit points. The ranger's mark of prey, it doesn't give you mana back, but it generates free mana whenever you attack your marked prey. The paladin can use lay on hands to recover mana. The artificer can use the mana storage device, the mana vault, to recover mana or to give it to other people. The paladin can also give mana to other people. So the rogue can exchange their sneak attack dice for extra mana when they make attacks, for instance. So all of them have ways of getting mana back or cheating additional mana into their mana pool to give them more bang for their buck than what they normally otherwise could. Overall, they end up having the same amount of mana, about the same amount of mana expenditure per adventure that a full caster could. So they get a ton of mana for free. They get a ton of mana they can generate by sacrificing their features. There's a lot of fun stuff that you can do. And this uncanny metabolism It's just a way for you to basically dip in and get some extra mana. There you go. Second level, Focused Arts. During your turn, you can choose the following options. Flurry of Blows. You can expend 1 mana as a bonus action to make 2 attacks with a monk weapon. Patient Defense. When you take the Disengage action as a bonus action, you can take the Disengage action as a bonus action if you expend 1 mana as an exploit. While doing so, you can also take the Dodge action at the same time. This is just stuff from the player's handbook, but it's been modified with the mana language instead of focus points. Step of the Wind, when you take the Dash action as a bonus action, and if you expend 1 mana as an exploit while doing so, you can also take the Disengage action at this time. Third level, Deflect Attacks. When a weapon attack, this doesn't say when an attack hits you that deals bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. We changed it so that it's a weapon attack. So when a weapon attack hits you or an ally within reach of your melee, or your ally within reach of your melee weapon, as a reaction, you can reduce the amount of damage dealt by an amount equal to the result of 1 power die plus your channeling ability modifier plus your monk level. If the damage is reduced to 0, you can expend You can expend 1 point of mana as an exploit to redirect the attack. A melee weapon, I'm going to get rid of that exploit language. If a melee weapon attack can target another creature that you can see within 5 feet of you, a ranged weapon attack can target another creature without full cover that you can see within 30 feet of you. The new target makes a dexterity saving throw against your channeling DC. If they fail, they take the amount of damage dealt by the deflected attack using the same type of damage. Monk subclass 3, 6, 10, 14 feats 4, 8, 12, 16. Still fall. You can take a reaction when you fall to reduce any damage you take from the fall by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. Extra attack, 5th level. Get an extra attack. 5th level Stunning Strike. This is modification. Once per turn, when you hit with a monk weapon, instead of channeling a strike power, you can expend 1 mana to force the target to make a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the start of your next turn. You can use Stunning Strike in combination with any weapon mastery you know, regardless of whether the target is stunned or not. Regardless of whether the target is stunned. Right. So if I have the push, like I have the push and the grappling mastery, if I hit you with an attack once per turn, once per turn, when you hit with a monkey, so I can do this during my turn, and I can use it as part of a reaction during your turn. Cost 1 mana. I attempt to stun you. I failed. Whether I succeed or not, I could grapple you, or I could push you, or I could trip you, or I could cleave, or whatever. Whatever power I have prepared. And we always have grappling and topple prepared. So even if I don't stun you, I can still trip you. Empowered attacks at level 6. I can deal unarmed damage. When you deal damage with your unarmed strike or natural weapons, it can deal your choice of force damage or its normal damage type. Whirlwind attack, level 6. As a magic action, you can attack enemies around you that you can see in a blur of motion. The whirlwind attack table below shows how many targets you can attack and how far away from you each of these targets can be. Make a separate melee weapon attack against each target with a monk weapon, which can include your fist, so you're always armed. Each target hit takes 1 power die of damage per point of mana expended this way, up to your max channel limit, gained as a monk, plus your channeling ability modifier. Takes damage equal to the result of rolling 1 power die for each point of mana expended this way, up to your max channel limit, gained as a monk, minimum of 1 mana, plus your channeling ability modifier. These attacks cannot use strike powers or weapon masteries. So this is a special attack. I can't use strikes and weapon masteries with these attacks. I make basically a cloudburst attack at 6th level. I can hit 2 targets up to 15 feet away each. And I have to spend at least 1 mana, but I could spend 2 mana. And if I do, at 6th level, I would do 2d8 damage. By the time I get to 18th level, I could target 5 creatures up to 30 feet away, and I would deal 5 12-sided dice of damage, plus my channeling ability modifier, like +5. So it'd be 5d12 plus 5 if I wanted to spend 5 mana at 18th level. But I could spend only 1, doing 1d12 plus 5 damage to 5 different targets. And if I'm using minion rules, where minions only have 1 hit point each, I'm going to kill all of those minions if I hit them. So this leans into the power fantasy of a monk being able to wade through piles of people. Coincidentally, this is just a deconstructed Steelwind Strike spell. Steelwind Strike can target 5 creatures up to 30 feet away, dealing 6d10 force damage on hits. We're going to deal 5d12. They're both a total of 60. It's either 60 or a half, 6 or a half dozen. It's the same difference. After completing the Whirlwind Strike, you can teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of any target you attack. Just like it's literally Steelwind Strike that we get access to starting at 6th level. I love that ability. I'm really proud of it. I think it's super fun, and I love seeing it being used in game. I throw mobs at people specifically that have monks, so they can use Whirlwind Attack and feel like a god when they spend 1 mana to kill 5 minions. It's awesome. Evasion, it is what it is. When you're subject to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, you instead take no damage. If you succeed on the saving throw, only half if you fail. You don't benefit from this feature if you have the incapacitated condition. Acrobatic movement, level 9. When you aren't wearing armor or wielding a shield, you gain the ability to move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during the movement. Now, you have to end your turn on something that can support you, but otherwise you can ignore it. Heightened Focus Arts, level 10. Your Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, and Step of Wind gain the following benefits. Flurry of Blows, 1 mana now equals 3 attacks. Patient Defense is 1 mana to use Patient Defense. I can also gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the result of 2 power dice. At this level, it's going to be a D8. Level 11 will be a D10. 2D10. Step of the Wind. When I expend 1 point of mana to use Step of the Wind, I can choose a willing creature within 5 feet of me to come along for the ride. We don't provoke opportunity attacks. Level 10, Self-Restoration. You can remove one of the following conditions from yourself at the end of each of your turns. Charmed, Frightened, Poisoned. This ends any additional effects from the condition as well. In addition, foregoing food and drink doesn't give you levels of exhaustion. Deflect energy. Okay, so up here in deflect attacks, it had to be any kind. It had to be any kind of a weapon attack that hits you or an ally or a creature within range of your melee attack. The deflect energy is now you can use deflect attacks features against any type of attack. So like if you get hit with like a disintegration ray, you can deflect the disintegration ray from you or an ally. And if you reduce the damage to 0, you can then target somebody else with it. Disciplined Survivor, 14. You gain proficiency in all saving throws. In addition, when you fail a saving throw, you can expend 1 mana to re-roll using a new result. Perfect Focus, level 15. When you roll initiative and don't use Uncanny Metabolism, you regain an amount of mana equal to the max rank of power you've gained as a monk. And again, the Uncanny Metabolism ability is get all of your mana back when you start a round. You can do that once per short rest. Perfect Focus is you regain an amount of mana equal to your max rank of power, which is at level 15. Whenever you roll initiative, you'll either get 4 points or 15 points back once per short rest. So this really juices up the amount of mana that a monk can have, just like having more second winds on a fighter juices up the amount of mana that they can recover. A paladin, a higher level paladin, has more lay on hands that can be used to generate mana, etc. Superior Focus. At the start of your turn, you can expend 3 mana to bolster yourself against harm for 1 minute or until you have the incapacitated condition. During this time, you have resistance to all damage except force. Epic Boon at 19, and then at level 20, Dexterity and Wisdom scores increase by 4 to a maximum of 25. No need to change that. Okay, so that's the breakdown of the monk in general. Now I want to go into the Unearthed Arcana that recently came out on D&D Beyond. Hold on. Peel this out. Good morning, folks. There. Good morning, folks. Have this here. I'm going to take this. I'm consolidating my windows. We have the Unearthed Arcana here. Here. Here's the monk. So I'm going to peel the monk out on its own window. We now have the Unearthed Arcana here. We're going to go down to the Drunken Master of Intoxication. Warrior of Intoxication. Ugh, okay, whatever. Let's see. I know we built this already, but it's currently it's a Forsaken subclass. All the player handbook subclasses we have translated into the martial power system, and as you can see here, all subclasses now grant you 10 either power spells, or in the case of like the ranger, a mix of like 5 spells and 5 powers. So everyone gets bonus spells or powers now. These help definitely lock in the theme of the subclass that we're working with. So let's go down to our Forsaken subclasses. Way of the Ascended Dragon. Way of the Astral Self. Way of the Drunken Master. Soon to be Warrior of Intoxication. I hate that title. It's absolutely horrible, but it is what it is. So we get a stack of bonus powers here for free. We're going to look at these once we actually finish our list of actual features, and then we'll come back and we'll see how well the power list complements the features that we have selected. So we're going to go through the Warrior of Intoxication. We're going to look at the previous features that we had built off of 2014 using the power system, and then we're going to see how they've been updated here for the system and see what changes we need to make. Generally, I like the changes to 2024, and I like seeing the modifications that they made. So I'll be probably I typically take their recommendations of changes. I think they're generally better mechanics. We'll see if that remains true with this. Warrior of Intoxication moves with the jerky, unpredictable movements typical of someone who is intoxicated. These monks sway on unsteady feet to appear incompetent and then prove themselves frustrating to engage. Their apparent erratic stumbles conceal a carefully executed dance of blocks, parries, advances, attacks, and retreats. The Warrior of Intoxication often enjoys playing the fool to bring gladness to the downtrodden or to teach humility to the arrogant, but these monks are maddening, masterful foes in combat. So we get our bonus powers, and we'll look at those later, but for now we get bonus proficiencies. How do we have it listed? Oh yeah, we use old tech here. We used to grant the skilled feat, modifying things, but we're trimming that down. You gain proficiency in the performance skill, or if you already have it, you gain proficiency in one skill of your choice from the skills available to monks at level 1. You also gain proficiency with brewer's supplies if you don't already have it. See, I like these modifications. I think that's great language, and there's no reason not to keep it. So I'm going to copy, paste. Here, like that. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm just gonna copy paste these things. Like this literally doesn't need any modifications. It's good. I just need to clean up the format. There. Perfectly happy with that. Drunken Technique. Does it still exist? Drunken Technique. how it used to be. Whenever you use Flurry of Blows, you gain the benefit of the disengage action, and your walking speed increases by 10 feet until the end of the current turn. How it's changed. Your twist and turns quickly. You twist and turn quickly as part of your Flurry of Blows. Whenever you use Flurry of Blows, your speed increases by 10 feet until the end of the current turn, and your movement during that turn at that time doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Whenever you use Flurry of Blows, your speed increases by 10 feet. I do actually like them restructuring the order of this. Whenever you use Flurry of Blows, your speed increases by 10 feet until the end of your turn. Because you can only use Flurry of Blows during your turn, so that makes sense. And you gain. Yeah, and this movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. There's no reason why we couldn't say it, you gain the benefits of the disengage action, but this is a consistent language that we're using. Doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. We see that in 5e24 again and again, so I'm keeping it. Tipsy Sway, so we've updated it. You gain the following benefits. Light on your feet. When you make a saving throw to avoid being grappled or knocked prone, you can roll with advantage. And redirect attack. When a creature misses you with a melee attack roll, you can spend 1 mana as a reaction to cause that attack to hit one creature of your choice other than the attacker that you can see within 5 feet of you. How's it changed? Leap to your feet. When you have the prone condition, you can stand up by spending 5 feet of movement rather than half your speed. And redirect attack. When a creature misses you with a melee attack roll, you can spend 1 focus point as a reaction to cause that attack to hit one creature of your choice other than the attacker that you can see within 5 feet of yourself. Yeah, I'm good with that. Lie on the feet, they changed it to the prone condition. That's leaning into how much topple effect there is now. I'm actually pretty in favor of that. Let's go down here and see. Yep. Okay. Great. Yeah. Let's just grab that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Cut. Leap to your feet. When you have the prone condition, you can stand up by spending 5 feet of movement rather than half your speed. I'm good with that. Level 11, Drunkard's Luck. Starting at 11th level, you always seem to get lucky bounce at the right moment. Get rid of the flavor text. When you make an ability check, an attack roll, or a saving throw, and have let's try it like this. When you have advantage on a D20 test, you can expend 1 point of mana to cancel any disadvantage for that roll. There. Mystic Brew. They added a thing. Tipsy Sway. Now they've added Mystic Brew. Interesting. We'll see what that guy's all about here in a minute. Let's just Master Brewer. Intoxicating Frenzy. Intoxicated Frenzy is still the same. Whenever you use Flurry of Blows, you can also take the dash action as part of the bonus action. Make an overwhelming number of attacks. When you use your Flurry of Blows, you can make up to 3 additional unarmed attacks with it, up to a total of 6 unarmed attacks. Wait. Oh my god. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can make up to 3 additional unarmed strikes with it, up to a total of 6 unarmed strikes. For that, each strike targets a different creature on this turn. Wow. Okay. That's our Steel and Strike deconstructed, right? 6 targets. But it doesn't cost any mana to use it, and we can use it with strikes. Jesus. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can make up to 3 additional unarmed attacks with it, up to 6, provided that each strike. Do I like that? Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. It's better than what I got going on, so let's take it. It basically gives you a free low damage Flurry of Blows for free, or Whirlwind Attack for free. That could also use strikes. So I think I'm okay with that. That's actually a really good capstone feature because it completely overrides the Whirlwind Attack power that we have. It's like a much better Whirlwind Attack. So when you use Flurry of Blows, yeah, I'm actually really good with that. Cool, let's take that. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can make up to 3 additional weapon attacks with it, up to a total of 6 unarmed strikes, provided that each strike targets a different creature this turn. Cool. Okay, let's go back and let's look at what the hell we've got going on down here now. Master Brewer. And what's this one called? Mystic Brew. Interesting. Let's check it out. Whenever you finish a short or long rest while holding brewer supplies, you can use that tool to magically produce 1 magical beverage chosen with the following options: Cinnamon Dragon, Heavenly Spirit, Refreshing Dip. The beverage appears in a bottle or cask, and the bottle vanishes when the beverage is drunk or poured out. If any beverage remains when you finish a short or long rest, the beverage and its containers vanish. Drinking a magical beverage. Only you can gain the benefits of drinking the beverage. You must drink at least a pint of the beverage before gaining its benefits. You can spend 1 minute drinking a pint of the beverage. You then gain the benefits of the beverage for 1 hour as described below. Cinnamon Dragon. Hey, what's going on? Good morning. What's up, Breezy? That's awesome. Let me fix my windows here so I can see. It was all builders. That's great. Let's check it out. Cinnamon Dragon, you can take a magic action to exhale toxic flames in a 30-foot cone. Each creature makes a dex save. On a failed save, creature takes fire damage equal to 4 rolls of your martial arts die and has the poison condition until the end of its next turn. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage only. 4 rolls of your dice. It's a static ability. Gain it at 6th level, 2nd rank. On a successful save, a creature takes half damage. Okay, I can do this as many times as I want, right? Yeah, for 1 hour. In a bottle, cask, and a bonus finances, you find a short rest, the beverage, and its containers vanish. Okay, so it looks like I can do this once. And when I decided, I get one potion, I drink the potion, I now have this ability for 1 hour. Huh. Okay, I'm not sure if I necessarily like that configuration. Give me a hot second. I'm going to grab some more coffee. I quit drinking coffee. This is decaf. It's a slippery slope, though. I acknowledge the slipperiness of this slope. Drinking decaf coffee is the first step towards drinking caffeine again. It's been 6 weeks since I've had any caffeine, and during that time, I've had this is the third cup of decaf that I've had. The kicker is that my second was yesterday. My first was last week. I feel like I'm on a slippery slope. But I like having coffee during my morning routines. I just don't like the caffeine. So we'll figure it out. Okay, so Heavenly Spirit, you gain resistance to psychic radiant damage. Okay, refreshing dip. Whenever you regain hit points, you regain additional hit points equal to a roll of your martial arts die. That one's really good. I like that. It lasts for an hour. What I'm thinking is I don't want these to be drink the thing and then you only get it for an hour and it goes away and you only get it once per short rest. I don't like that. I want to change it so that they are sustained. I want this to last until you take a short rest. But that makes the breath weapon effect really ramped up. So I think what I'm going to do, yeah, I know what I'm going to do with these. Okay, I like this, but I just found it. So we can figure this. I like things to be even more binary than what Wizards does. So we're going to make changes to this. So hold my beer. Hold on. Pardon the pun. Let's grab all this. Copy paste it. Second. There. Cut that. We're gonna change it around a little bit. Whenever you finish a short or long rest while holding brewer supplies, you can use that tool to magically produce one magical beverage. I like that they're giving us a reason to use the tools that we gain as a proficiency with this subclass. I actually like that quite a bit. Whenever you finish a short or long rest while holding brewer supplies, you can use that tool to magically produce one magical beverage, chosen from the following options: Cinnamon Dragon, Heavenly Spirit, or Refreshing Dip. The beverage appears in a bottle or cask, and the bottle vanishes when the beverage is drunk or poured out. If any beverage remains, you finish a blah, blah, blah. Drinking magical beverage. We'll bold that. Only you, Prevent Forest Fires, can gain the benefit of the drinking the beverage. You must drink at least one pint of the beverage before gaining its benefits. You can spend 1 minute. Only you gain the benefits of drinking the beverage. It doesn't say how much we produce. Only you gain the benefit of drinking the beverage, which you can spend 1 minute doing so. You then gain the benefits of the beverage until you begin a short or long rest or are incapacitated. You can regain use of this feature by expending 2 mana, no action required. if you do, if you drink a different type of brew, you replace the current effect with the new one, period. So this makes it more adaptable. It lasts until you take a rest or are incapacitated. You can regain the use of it by expending 2 mana. Cut. Let's do it. Let's do it like this. Period. Space. Period. Hey, what's up? Do you still regain it by... Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Whenever you finish a short or long rest while holding brewer supplies, you can use that tool to magically produce 1 magical beverage chosen from the following options. Blah, 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 blah. The beverage appears in a bottle or a cask, and the bottle vanishes when the beverage is drunk or poured out. Whenever you finish a short or long rest while holding brewer supplies, you can use that tool. You can use a magic action while using that tool. There we go. You can use a magic action while using that tool to magically produce 1 magical beverage chosen from the following options. Blah, 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 blah. The beverage appears in a bottle or cask, and the bottle vanishes while the beverage is drunk or poured out. If any beverage remains when you finish a short or long rest, the beverage and its contents... Let's do this. When it is, the beverage appears in a bottle or a cask, and the bottle vanishes when the beverage is drunk. Period. You can regain use of this feature by expending, and the bottle vanishes when the beverage is drunk. I'm just getting rid of the share factor of it. That's just making things clumsy. You're the only one that can drink it. When you've drank it, the bottle disappears, and you can regain the feature by expending 2 mana, which then allows you to, again, use a magic action to produce a bottle that you can then drink. So drinking the beverage, only you gain the benefits of drinking this beverage, which you can expend 1 mana doing so. You then gain the benefit of the beverage until you begin... which you can spend 1 minute doing so. So we have to spend a minute to use this. We can create it as a magic action, but we then have to spend a minute to be able to drink it. And then gain the benefits of the beverage until you begin a short or long rest. 1, 2, 3. There. You can regain use of this feature by expending 2 mana, no action required. If you drink a different type of brew, you replace the current effects with the new one. If you drink a different type of brew, you replace the current effects with the new one. There we go. That is properly parceling out the information. Now, let's get to the actual types. And this will make it much easier. So let's go with copy, paste, delete. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate you, Breezy. Drop it like this, drop it in like that, drop it like that, like that. All right, so let's grab these 3 things and then clean them up. Period. Cinnamon Dragon. You can make a magic action to exhale a toxic flame in a 30-foot cone. Each creature makes a dexterity saving throw. We already know what the saving throw is because it's a power. So the DC for martial powers is 8 plus proficiency modifier plus your channeling ability modifier. versus your channeling DC. On a failed save, a creature takes fire damage equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die, and has the poison condition until the end of its next turn. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage only. We're reducing the damage because it lasts basically forever. And I suspect, I don't know what the notation about amplifying the effects are. Enhancing a magical beverage. So we'll do this. We're going to cut, and then we're going to paste, and we're going to take a look at what the enhancing does. When you create a magical beverage, you can expend 1 focus point, and when you do so, the benefit duration extends to 8 hours. Nope, don't need to do that. Well, we're going to go ahead and just drop that out of the equation altogether for now. And instead, we're going to come up to the Cinnamon Dragon. You can take a magic action to exhale toxic flames in a 30-foot cone. Each creature makes a dexterity save versus your channeling DC. On a failed save, a creature takes fire damage equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die and has the poison condition until the end of its next turn. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage only. Let's see. I want to be able to ramp this. So instead of just dealing a flat 4 dice of damage perpetually to everyone, I'm going to make it a default 2. But then we can expend mana to ramp it. You can take a magic action to exhale toxic flames in 3-foot cone. Each creature must make a dexterity saving throw versus your channeling DC. On a failed save, a creature takes fire damage equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die to the end of its next turn. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage on. I need to reword it so we have a modifier in here. It takes 2 rolls damage equal to 2 power dice. Plus 1 additional power die per mana expended this way. Up to your max channel limit. Let's see. So we could sacrifice. This is a what is this? This is a 6th level ability. We could sacrifice our bonus action and reaction to generate 2 points of free mana to add to these 2 dice to deal 4 dice of damage. At 6th level, it'd be a D8. So to deal 4d8 damage as a magic action, we sacrifice our bonus action and our reaction. 4 dice, saving throw, half damage to all, and then that's our turn. At 17th level, we can do 2 dice of damage plus put 5 mana into it off of our 3 mana that we get from our bonus action. And actually, I want to make this Cinnamon Dragon. You can take we're gonna do this as a unique maneuver. If we make it a maneuver, we can then use it as an action, as a bonus action or an action. So if I wanted to make 2 attacks and then a bonus action, I could breathe my fire. If I take the attack maneuver option, which is a feat I can use that allows me to, instead of making attacks, I can use maneuvers as an attack action. So a 5th level monk has 2 attacks. I could make an attack, and then with my other attack, I could Cinnamon Dragon. And I would automatically deal 2 dice of damage, which would be divided by 1 into 1 martial arts die. It's effectively the same as making an attack roll for 1 die of damage, but I have an area of effect to affect multiple targets, and the half damage, the saving throw reduces the damage by half. So it actually kind of washes out. So I'm really happy with that. But we can always ramp it to deal more if we want to. As a unique maneuver, what's up? Hey, Steve, it's good to see you. But if they legalize and last up to a short rest, players can always have one effect active. Yeah, they should always have one effect active. I believe they always should. I think that's a good benefit for the class. Oi, Steve. Watching the secret levels. Yeah, secret levels is pretty fun. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I enjoyed it in general. I'm going to be able to say, and now I Cinnamon Dragon. Let's see. Heavenly Spirit. You gain resistance to psychic and radiant damage. That's not. We have one of the sustained powers we have in the system gives you resistance to damage types. So let's actually go take a look at that for pudding proof. Wait, I'm here. It's called Adaptive Resistance. It's a first rank sustained power. So when I spend a point of mana, this remains active all day until I either become incapacitated, start a long rest, or get knocked out. Or it's dispelled. Adaptive Resistance. For 1 mana, I can become resistant to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. And at 17th level, when I have 5 mana available for me to sustain 5 sustained powers at the same time, I could choose all of them. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder, because they're 1 each. For 2 mana, I can be resistant to psychic, radiant, force, and necrotic damage. So this would, Heavenly Spirit would give me basically 4 points of resistance. And it costs, again, it now costs 2 points to make one of these Mystic Brews. So effectively we're saying for 2 mana, you gain resistance to psychic and radiant damage. And here it would cost you 4 as a general power, which kind of lines up with a monk can get Flurry of Blows for 1 mana, while a fighter could have Flurry of Blows for 3 mana. It still has that disparage of anyone could do it. Your subclass or your class does it better, or less, or cheaper, like it's less expensive for you to do it. Or when you do it, it has an extra kicker effect to it, or something like that. So this is staying in curve with those expectations. And then Refreshing Dip. Whenever you regain hit points, you regain additional hit points equal to a roll of your power die. So at 6th level, it's going to be an extra D8, which is super useful. If someone's going to spend a point of mana on you to recover 2 D8 hit points, with this potion active, you don't get the resistance, you don't get Cinnamon Dragon, but you get the extra healing. And that's also when you expend hit dice as part of as a short rest, but this is disabled. This only lasts until you begin a rest. So during your short rest, when you would spend mana, or rather when you'd spend hit dice to recover hit points, Refreshing Dip is no longer active because it ended when you started the rest. And you don't get it back until you finish a short rest. Though you could spend 2 mana to regain it after you begin your short rest. There is that caveat. And the Master Brewer. What does Master Brewer do now? Let's go find out. Oh, more things. You learn more complex flavors. The following beverages are added to your Mystic Brew selections. Look, cool. Let's see what these do. There, let's grab these, import them, and then modify them. Copy, cut, paste. The following beverages, we get rid of the flavor text. Blue Lightning, Drunkard's Luck. Blue Lightning. Whenever you take a reaction that isn't making an opportunity attack or casting a spell, you can make one unarmed attack, one unarmed strike as part of that reaction. Whenever you take a reaction that isn't making an opportunity attack or casting a spell, I love that. Okay, we're going to leave that be and we're going to see if it works. Hopefully somebody will pick this up during playtesting to see if we need to modify it, but I think that language on its own is good. Drunkard's Luck, you gain Heroic Inspiration if you don't already have it. In addition, you can give yourself Heroic Inspiration when you roll initiative without it. Okay. Okay, I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm good with that. I don't think I need to change it. That's perfectly good. Okay, and then Intoxicating Frenzy. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can make up to 3 additional unarmored strikes with it, up to 6 total unarmored strikes, provided that each strike targets a different creature this turn. This does allow you to use strikes and weapon masteries up to, again, 6 times as a bonus action. That is pretty amazing. I am super good with that at being 17th level. And that is effectively the Drunken Monk, or the Warrior of Intoxication, as it were. I'm good with those. So that's actually the end of the Unearthed Arcana. We have more stuff to do, but we've completed this Unearthed Arcana. I'm pretty happy with that. Let that step aside, get it out of the way. We have, I'm just mentioning it here right now, we've built combat mechanics for the Mage Tower sport from Strixhaven, where there's 2 goals and you have a team. Each team has a ball. You're attempting to hit the goal with the ball while the enemy is attempting to hit your goal with the ball. The first person to get to 9 points first wins. We break it up into 3 periods, and each period lasts 3 points. So whoever gets to 3 points first ends that period. And then the second period, whoever gets 3 points first wins that period. And then the third period, whoever gets the 3 points first wins there. And then there's overtime if there's no definitive winner by that point. It then goes into overtime to see whoever then gets to 9 points. So like if you win all 3 periods, that's 9 points, we're done. If I win, you win, I win, that could mean I could have 8 points and you have 7. So then we go into overtime, and I only need to score 1 point, and you need to score 2 points, and whoever gets the 9 first wins. So that's how you break that. That's how you go from periods into overtime and into overtime. Final score: whoever gets the 9 points first wins. From there, it's action economy. So we kick around the. Oh yeah, there it is. Here's our map. This is a 5-foot scale. Each of these is this is a pyramid. This is a pyramid. This is the wrong way to do that. This is the goal that occupies the top of the pyramid. The range of the ball is it's 20 feet normal distance, and 40 feet is your maximum with disadvantage. Here's your half court. Whenever a point is scored, everyone returns to their pyramid inside of somewhere standing on the pyramid. The goalie would be in a space around the goal. Everyone else could be anywhere else on the pyramid, but somebody has the ball, and you start moving this way towards your target. You have to get within this line to be able to make a shot. Meanwhile, this enemy team is leaving their zone to be able to invade your area, to be within disadvantage range of being able to make an attack. You make attack rolls against the goal, and you have to deal at least 1 point of damage if you hit it to score a goal. So a monk that is defending a goal could use deflect attack. So when your ball comes in, you deal like say 13 points of damage to the goal, if the monk can reduce that damage to 0 because he's standing within 5 feet of the goal, I can use my reaction to negate that damage. You now have 0 damage. You have not scored a goal, and I have your ball. So I reduce it to 0. I could redirect the attack to throw it to somebody else, or just to throw it to a location 30 feet away, just to ditch the ball. Like if you're standing here taking your shot, I catch the ball, I could throw it back here, and now you have to come all the way around over here to grab your ball. Meanwhile, I'm trying to take shots over here as well. So it's a fun little sport game that uses combat action economy. Both spellcasters, like the catapult spell, could take that ball and fling it, like with mage hand energy. If I wanted to use the telekinetic thrust ability, I could throw the ball with telekinesis towards the goal as a spell attack instead of a thrown weapon attack. So I have a lot of flexibility in that range, but we can use all of our powers and our spells. We have a list of banned spells, like you can't summon additional monsters into combat to fight alongside you. You can't go ethereal, taking the ball out of battle with you. You can't force cage people, preventing them from acting. You can't throw down a magnificent mansion to hide the ball inside of. Mirage Arcana, you can't disguise the environment or all the creatures in it. Plane Shift, again, etherealness, you can't leave the battlefield. Reverse Gravity, if you can't walk, you can't play, so Reverse Gravity is banned. Sequester, I think that creates an illusion that appears as an additional body on the field. You can't do that. Yeah, you can't clone yourself. You can't create a demi-plane to hide in. You can't do an earthquake to destroy the battlefield. You can't banish somebody into a maze. They have to leave the battlefield to do that. And Tsunami floods the battlefield, and you can't effectively walk on it anymore, so we got rid of Tsunami. Similarly, Gate, you can't bring in creatures. You can't bury somebody at the core of the earth instead of fighting them. You can't just outright kill them. You can't turn them into a turnip. Like these are spells that are just fair play. Like you can't magic jar people. You can't gate in a demon or undead or an angel to fight for you. There's only like 3. It has to be an equal number of people on the battlefield, whether you have a demon and an angel on your team or not. They have to be there at the beginning, and you can't bring anybody else in. So it has some decent limitations that keeps the game fair in general. Like Banishing Strike, we can't use that because it banishes somebody from the battlefield, right? Boon of Combat Prowess. What that boon does is if you miss, you hit instead. So it lets you automatically hit the goal and deal damage, which is against the spirit of the game. No automatically hitting. You have to actually score a hit with a die roll against your target's defenses to be able to actually hit the goal. But otherwise, the game is just a 5e combat round where we use our action economy to maneuver. We can use actions to throw the ball to each other, to pass the ball on the field. We can try to disarm our opponent to knock the ball out of their hand and steal it from them, so they have to take it back from you with disarming strikes. The balls are technically alive, so if your turn ends and you aren't holding the ball gets a legendary action to run in a random direction, which either could just come right back to you, or it could run completely away from you to your enemies. But the ball always has a legendary action where if it's not being held at the end of the current turn, it takes an immediate turn to take the dash action in any direction that it wants along the ground. It can't leave the bounce. So like if you drop the ball here, it's either gonna have to go somewhere inside of this arc into the battlefield. It can't leave the boundaries. If you throw the ball away back here, it'll just automatically stop, like hitting a wall of force. It'll just drop at this location. So we're trapped inside here, and we can't fly more than 20 feet above the battlefield, so that you're within reach of people if they need to grab you from the sky. So some very simple rules. I would like to have anyone that's interested. I would be interested in refereeing or running an opposing team to play this game against. I would like to play test it. I think it's a really fun option. There's not a lot of combat options built into the Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos Adventure book. This is a way to have as much combat in your game as you want without having to worry about killing each other, because it is a combat encounter. It's just the objective is to score points and gold. You can kill each other, but it's temporary damage to knock them out, and your hit points reset when when a point gets scored. So you can kill people and then casually walk your way to the goal, but then they'll be fully revived with the next point to fight you again. So at best, it's a temporary tactic. Each period is a short rest. Each game is a long rest. That's the basic rules there. We haven't play tested them yet, but it looks like they could be a lot of fun. I'm very interested in having at least like a 2v2 or preferably a 3v3 team, like 6 players and a referee, having a PvP encounter. But the DM could create a rival team, and then all I would need is 3 players to play against the DM. So then we could just have, it's whoever gets the 9 points first wins, whether that's 9 rounds of combat, or more. It'd be 9 or more rounds of combat, obviously. If you can score 1 point each round, then it's just 3 rounds of combat, and we reset to the next period, take a long rest, or rather take your short rest during that period switch. So you're encouraged to dump as much mana as you want, to Nova Burst as hard as you please, because you're going to get a short rest every 3 points, either in your favor or against. So I'm hoping it's high energy, but I think it's a good alternate to the arena combat style of PvP combat that people kind of want to do, because they just want to test out things. I think this would be a fun way to test out stuff. I'm hoping to gain a roster of players that are willing to play either on Monday night or Saturday morning. But I am very interested in running these games, maybe like in December, if I can find people that are willing to play. Because you have to learn how to build your characters, use the mana system that we have, and then build athletes to use that system in a game you haven't played before. It's a 3-layered ask. Variant rules, building your characters with those variant rules, and then learning the rules of the game that those variant rules are used inside of the 5e game engine. But I haven't seen any sports games. They may exist. I just haven't seen them. I've never seen a 5e combat sport game presented. And I think Strixhaven is the perfect narrative to wrap that inside of, because it gives us an excuse for all 14 classes using a mana system to compete with each other on equal terms. So most of the stupid utility spells that full casters get access to aren't very useful in this sort of competition. Like, you could hold person to shut down the goalie. That's great, but the goalie could take a power that allows them to negate being paralyzed, for instance. So there's a lot of options we have available there. What are we going to do? Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so the other thing we had on our agenda today was looking at magic items. So I built a magic item system using the Dungeon Master's Guide and this power system. So let me scroll past all these. I have all 14 classes and every subclass from all those 14 classes in this document. They're all here available for people to play test and mess around with, if you're interested in doing so. Again, the playtest document is here. The mechanics for the color mana system on DMsGuild is here. They all have free previews. My Discord community where we do playtesting is here. And you're most welcome and invited to join. I would love to have participants play Strixhaven Mage Tower with me. I think that'd be super fun. I think it has a lot of potential, and I want to release it as a encounter supplement on DMsGuild for Strixhaven Adventures. So I need to play test it. I need to play test it good. So we're going to need a lot of people that are willing to build teams of athletes to compete in. Even I'd love to see a league where everyone has their own team and they compete against each other to go for a laddered championship. I think that'd be super fucking fun to do. And if we're lucky, it would only take an hour per match. So maybe an hour and a half if we go into overtime. But I would like to see these games be able to run in an hour if possible. That'd be super fun. All right, so we're scrolling down here past the Druid, past the Scion, Sorcerer, Wizard, Warlock. Okay, here's the subclass. Here's the backgrounds that we have built out for Ravnica and for Strixhaven. Strixhaven, the renown system gains renown in your guild in Ravnica. And every time you gain new ranks of renown, you get access to free spells. Like a spellcaster gets Vicious Mockery at 3rd level when you have 3 renown, which you could have as early as 1st level. If you do, you get access to Vicious Mockery. Or if you're if you are wielding powers, you can choose Anticipate. A half-caster that has access to both could choose either one. At 9 renown, which would normally come in around 3rd level, we get Goad or Dissonant Whispers. Each of them have this. These are just progressions. So by 51 mana, which you would get, or 51 renown, which you'd have around 17th level, where you become like a Ringmaster in Rakdos, you'd have Frenzied Attack or Power Word Kill. So good stuff. We have the 10 guilds. We built a renown system for Strixhaven for each college that we call them credits. So when you gain different levels of credits, you get access to additional perks for your college. And each college has its own progression, and you gain, with each amount of credits, you get access to the libraries to convert spells to the colors that you want. So of course Lorehold gets access to Identify. But Lorehold is white and red mana. So as you gain credits in Lorehold, you can convert more and more spells in library research to the white and red mana colors, like we were talking about at the beginning of today's design session. If you want to go back and take a look at that, I walked through how the color mana system works, how you research, and how you can convert spells from one color identity to another for your spell list. We have all the, and then we have the colleges, and then we also have Theros Piety. And when we gain Piety in Theros, we get access to, I'm still fleshing out what some of these gods should provide for stuff. But generally how it works is the same progression spell levels. You can, if you have a Piety of 3 with, like, say, Iro. Iro is the god of white and red magic. So if I have 3 points of Piety, I can prepare my 1st level spells to be white or red if I have that Piety to Iro. So I have to take actions in adventures or sacrifice gifts to gain these ranks of Piety. And as I gain them, I get access to more and more magic. So if I am a Iro cleric, like a 9th level Iro cleric, I want to have at least 27 points of Piety so that all my 5th level and lower spells can automatically be white or red. So I can make my mana pool really efficient. If I do things that piss off Iro, then I'm going to lose Piety with him. And then I might lose access to having my spells automatically converted into white and red for me. I have to research them or prepare them twice the hard way. So these are all those subclasses, all those backgrounds. Okay, now we're here in Power Gear. So Power Gear are magic items. Mana crystals require mana pool class feature to attune. So you have to attune to a mana crystal to use it. You can use a mana crystal in 2 ways. Either as a consumable object, in which case you destroy the crystal and you gain the amount of mana that it holds automatically, or you can attune to it and keep the crystal so that every time you finish a long rest, it gives you 2 points of mana. And then if you destroy it, it's gone. But yeah, you can attune to an item to permanently increase your mana pool, which proved to be incredibly useful in the playtesting that we've done. Or if you need to in an emergency, and if you have them, crush it so that you can gain those 2 points once, and then that item is gone forever. You can't attune to it anymore. So that's what mana crystals do, and depending on the rarity of the item, determines how much mana it holds. 2, 3, 4. This doesn't give you more mana. It gives you it either pays for power immediately, or it replaces mana that you've expended. And then we have Power Gear. Power Gear are items that utilize the power system that we built. And this is the revision that we had. This was the original scaffold that we had built to outline the different rarities of magic items and what type of powers they can have and what their mana supply is. But we've henceforth built a better power item, armor, and weapon guide. So if your rank, the rank of a power, here's the costs. It's either going to be, something's either going to cost 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, or 7 points. So like if it's a meta power that doesn't require mana at all, it only costs 1 point to have it added to your item. So like a common item has 1 or 2 points. And here's the gold piece value for however many points it has. So a common item has 1 or 2 points. This should actually be 11 plus. Legendary items don't have a cap. It's just how ridiculous do you want to make it. But creating them is expensive. Consumables, right? Consumables only have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 points versus all these items have to be attuned to. So if I have a common magic item or a common piece of power gear that has, like, say, 2 points of value, it's still common. It would cost 250 gold, but a consumable only has 1 point and it's only 50, but you can only use these once and they're gone. So if I have 2 points, a 2-point common magic item, I could, for instance, have a first rank power in this item, but I have to pay for it myself. It doesn't provide any mana. So this here, Arcane, this is the rank or the rank of power. Either there are no 5th rank powers, so it's just 1 through 4 at level 1, 5, 9, 13. And then meta powers you get at first level as well. So a meta power costs 1 point. First rank power costs 2. Second rank power costs 3. Third rank power costs 4. Fourth rank power costs 6. And there are no 5th rank powers. So, and if we want the device to generate mana to pay for powers, 1 mana costs 2 points. 2 mana costs 3 points. 3 mana costs 6 points. 4 mana costs 7 points. And if I want the item to have a magical bonus to attacks and damage rolls, that's its own cost as well. So +1 is 2 points, +2 is 3 points, +3 is 4 points. So like a sword +3, that all it does is give you a +3 bonus to attacks and damage, but it doesn't have any other properties, that would cost 4 points, which you could gain as an uncommon magic item. All it does is provide you with a +3 bonus or a +2 bonus. So both of those are fair game. If I wanted to have, like, say that the bonus attack power is a first rank maneuver, it costs 1 mana to use it. So a first rank maneuver costs 2 points, and generating 1 point of mana to pay for that power also costs 2 points. So I could have an object that, if I attune to it, allows me to make a bonus attack with that weapon at no cost. It's just going to cost my bonus action to do it, which would then be a 2 + 2 is 4. That would be an uncommon or higher rank magic item. Flame Brand, Flame Ton, for instance. Let's go look at Flame Ton. Flame Ton magic item, Dungeon Master's Guide. While holding this magic weapon, you can take a bonus action to use a command word to cause flames to engulf the damage-dealing part of the weapon. These flames shed bright light in a 40-foot radius and dim light for an additional 40 feet. While the weapon is ablaze, it deals an extra 2d6 fire damage on hit. The flames last until you take a bonus action to issue the command again, or until you drop, stow, or sheath the weapon. This is a rare magic item. So how does this work? It has, let's look at the flame effect. As a bonus action, it creates light. I would call that a maneuver. Right? Like that's like a meta power. It doesn't actually do anything. It provides light. It's a cantrip. A cantrip is effectively a meta power. That's a 1 point cost. So looking at Flame Brand, Flame Tongue. Rare magic item. Bonus action equals create light 40 feet, dim 40 feet. Create bright light. M equals bonus action to create. What else does it do? It does 2d6 fire damage on hit that is going to be if we're okay. So 2d6. What does that sound like? 2d6 sounds like. Let's stay down here. Let's go up here. Actually, yeah. Let's actually. Sorry. Let's stay right here. 2d6 damage sounds like a 5th level character channeling 2 mana to deal an extra 2 6-sided dice of damage, right? So that's 2 mana. It deals fire damage on hit, and we happen to have a martial power called Flaming Strike. Your weapon can deal fire damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. And that, in this case, 2 mana. So 2d6 at 5th level, 2d8 at 9th level, 2d10 at 17th level. The creature is caught on fire, taking fire damage equal to the result of the highest power die rolled at the end of each of its turns until the fire is put out. The creature can put out the fire by expending an action to do so or succeeding a dexterity saving throw at the end of each of its turns before taking damage. So I make the save. If I fail, I'm still on fire. If I decide to immediately take an action and drop and stop being on fire, that'll put it out as well. The creature or an ally the creature or another creature, that's clumsy language, but we'll have an editor help us clean that up. The creature or another, the target or another creature, there we go. The target or another creature can put out the fire by expending an action to do so, or the target can succeed. Can make a dexterity saving throw at the end of each of its turns before taking the attack damage. Putting out the fire before taking damage. There we go. So that's the Flaming Strike. That's a first rank power. So first rank power costs 2 mana. That's going to be 1 point equals 2 points equals first rank equals Flaming Strike. And then it provides 2 points of mana. That's 3 points. 3 equals 2 mana. So that's 6 points. A rare magic item has 5 to 7 points. Flame Tongue is a rare power. We have now built Flaming Tongue using this system in the damage in the power curve and expense cost we anticipate for a rare weapon. Flame Tongue is now a a power weapon that as a bonus action creates light, and when you have it, Flaming Strike you have, while attuned, you have the Flaming Strike power. Actually, while attacking with this weapon, you have the Flaming Strike power. 3 equals 2 mana. Equals while attuned, when you use the Flaming Strike power, you generate 2 points of temporary mana to channel the power. You can expend additional mana to increase the damage, to increase the number of power dice rolled up to your max channel limit. While attuned, when you use the Flaming Strike power, you generate 2 points of temporary mana to channel the power. you can expend additional mana to increase the number of power dice rolled up to your max channel limit. For example, a 9th level fighter with a flame tongue. For example, a 9th level fighter has a max rank of has a max channel limit of 3. When while attuned and channeling the flaming strike power, you can expend 1 additional point of mana to increase the damage to 3 power dice. See how that works? So our max limit is 3. The weapon, if I'm attuned to the weapon, it gives me 2 points of mana for free when I channel Flaming Strike as part of my attack. I could use Freezing Strike if I wanted to, but the sword isn't going to help me do that. That's on me to pay for that myself. If I attune to the weapon, whenever I use Flaming Strike as an attack, it gives me 2 points of mana for free. But a 9th level fighter has a maximum cap of 3 mana. 2 I get for free. The other one has to come out of my mana pool, but it's still 3 points of mana. So Flaming Tongue basically allows me, if I'm willing to attune to it, gives me free mana every time I hit somebody, which is what the Flaming Tongue is supposed to do. Now it scales with our level. So if a monk has a kukri of flaming, like a flame tongue kukri, and I hit with that kukri and I'm attuned to it, it's going to do an extra 2d12 damage at 17th level, as opposed to the fighter is only going to do 2d10 damage because my power die at 17th level as a fighter is a 10, while monks is a d12. So these weapons, we can take any of these weapon effects and make these conversions. So let's try another one. Let's use vicious. Let's look at vicious weapon. Vicious weapon. Vicious weapon is also rare. So we know we have a budget for rare items. It's going to be between 5 and 7. Let's see if this works. The magic weapon deals an extra 2d6 damage to any creature it hits. This extra damage is of the same type as the weapon's normal damage. That sounds like a martial strike to me. So let's go look at the martial strike power. First rank. So let's go to 2 equals first rank equals while attacking with this weapon, you have the martial strike power. You can channel the martial strike power. You can channel and we get 2 points of mana for free, which is going to be 3 points. While attuned, when you use the martial strike power, you generate 2 points of temporary mana to channel this strike. You can expend additional mana to increase the number of power dice rolled up to your max channel limit, period. Drop that. 2 and 3. 2 for the first rank power, 3 for 2 points of mana generated automatically. That's 5 points. Hey, look at that. Rarity 5. That's rare, has a 5. Vicious Weapon is 5. That works. I know like Vorpal Blade is like a legendary magic item. Some of these, so like there is no limit to how many powers can be stacked up onto a legendary magic item. But building them costs more and more gold to do so. So it's 200,000 points to build one, plus 200,000 points for every additional point past 11. So I could put 12 points into it. It'll be 400k, and then 600, 800, a million, 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, 2 million. 2 million, that would be a legendary magic item with 21 points worth of power allocated to it. Ridiculous expensive. It'll take you years to make it. Even at 200,000 gold per season construction cost, 2 million gold. That's going to take literally 10 seasons. That's 2.5 years. You'll be building that magic item for 2.5 years. But that's the skinny of how this system works. Yeah. So let's get rid of a creature with a channeling feature can expend mana in their own pool instead of the mana stored in the item up to your max channel limit, using the creature's power die based on its rank, and those powers can use temporary mana generated with you sacrifice when you expend action economy. When you expend action economy, as though you prepared it. A creature without the channeling feature has a power die of D4. So if you pick up this weapon and you don't have a power die, like if a wizard were to attune to this weapon, I would roll 2d4 extra damage with that wizard, not 2d6. And I wouldn't be able to ramp it because I don't have a channeling class feature to increase the rank of power that I can spend. A full caster has to have multi-classing into a hybrid or martial character to get access to first rank powers. And even then, I can't put more than 1 point of mana into a strike or exploit or maneuver. I'm limited to only 1 point at a time. A 20th level sorcerer that takes the channeler initiate feat, the power initiate feat, could choose a first rank power to have prepared, but I'd only ever be able to use 1 point of mana at a time with it. And my sorcerer at 20th level has 100 mana. So I can burn my entire mana pool 1 point at a time on whatever that maneuver is, and that might be really good for the kind of build that I want to do. But I couldn't, even though I can cast 9th level spells, I would be limited to only using 1 point at a time because I haven't gotten to 5th level in any of the martial classes yet that increase my channeling limit. Sorcerer doesn't improve channeling limit. So none of the full casters do. The Warlock does, but uses the half casting progression to acquire powers, while it uses the full casting progression to attain spells. So at 5th level, a Warlock could learn the Fierce spell, which is 3rd level, or up to a 2nd rank power instead of a spell. It's the same as like the Paladin, the Ranger, and the Artificer can freely learn spells or powers and uses both of their lists, the Artificer list and the power list, the Ranger spell list or the power list, the Paladin list or the power list. I can mix and match them as I want. And they all use the same, like a 2nd rank power costs 2 mana, same as a 2nd level spell. So it all curves the same. So multi-classing gets easy, and by having a thick divide between channeling and casting, it creates different flavors for each group of classes: casters, channelers, and hybrids that do both. So the Ranger, Paladin, and Artificer becomes the most flexible character, able to use both sides of the equation, but is limited in their casting potential is limited, and they don't have the same features that martials do to really be able to lean into what the powers do. But yeah, this is essentially how the system works. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to lift it up. And replace this table here. There. Better. Much better power system. So with this, we can, like, first level characters have access to common. 5th level characters have access to uncommon. 9th level characters have access to rare. 13th level characters have access to very rare. And 17th level characters have access to legendary. So it has a power scaling that's very similar to 4th edition, that it's tiered. The game actually runs in a 5-tier system based off of your proficiency gains at 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. The same as half casting, the same as power progression, the same as ranks of guild, college credits, piety, 5 ranks of command in the bastion system. It all works on a scale of 5 ranks or 5 tiers of power. D&D is often framed as a 4-tier system, like level 1, level 5, level 11, and level 17. Those are your 4 tiers that are listed in D&D. But again, the 5th level spells in D&D are what really changes the game, not the 6th level spells. So the actual power spike in spellcasting is at 9th level with 5th level spells. Even though 6th level spells are high magic, that only full casters will eventually get access to, the actual power spike is at 9th level. So it's kind of a misinterpretation. The actual breaks in power, again, are 1st, 5th, 9th, 13th, and 17th. So if you structure your game's power gains and like progression through a campaign in these 5 steps, every 4 levels, is essentially like a season of a TV show. So you've got 5 seasons of a TV show where you start off at 1st level and then you end at 20th level, and then you end the show and you start a new show with a brand new 1st level season. Or you can have like, this is going to be a one shot, this is going to be like a 1 season campaign. We're going to run from level 9 through 12, and once we'll end in 12th level. That's a 4 level burst. Like we could do that like in 3 months if we wanted to, like short little vignette campaigns that are built inside of one of those 5 tiers. So that helps reshape the language of campaign design. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make an actual recorded video with like a script and shit that I'll upload to YouTube that basically walks through the ideas behind this 5-tier system and all the things that you can do with it and how you can build it for your narrative and how it just naturally builds on the language of how the 5e game engine actually works. So you can keep an eye out for that video. But Flame Tongue, Vicious Weapon, those are just 2 small examples, but they completely work with this system. We'll have a chance to go through and look at more magic items in the future as we proceed through more stuff. But the Unearthed Arcana is now done. Over the past 4 sessions, we went through all the new Unearthed Arcana stuff. We've updated the subclasses. I think what we're going to do next is we've just finished a playtest from level 3 through 9. And we got a lot of great feedback from that. So we've been updating all the subclasses, class perks, features, and how the different martial powers are worded and like which powers are available, which ones we had to change, improve, nerf, erase, add. We've been making those revisions. And so I think when we come back next Saturday, I'm going to go ahead and call it here and be done for the day. But when we come back next Saturday morning, we'll continue working on martial powers. I think we'll go back. We looked at Paladin, Monk, Fighter, and Barbarian with this Unearthed Arcana set. I think when we come back next time, we'll look at the Ranger and the Rogue. And then the following week, we'll look at the Artificer and Warlock. And then the following session, 3 weeks from now, we'll probably deal Cleric and Bard, and then Druid and Scion, and then Sorcerer and Wizard. So we have 6 weeks ahead of us that'll take us till the end of the year, revamping all of these mechanics. And I would love for us to be able to build out some folks that want to play Mage Tower and Strixhaven using these systems as a 5e combat sport. Just to play test stuff to see A, if the sport works, and B, how well the system works under high stress. I think it's productive on both of those ends. And each of those sessions when we're going through stuff, we'll grab more magic items and convert them into this power gear system. So examples. So now we can create all sorts of magic items using this point buy system to create themed magic items. So I think we'll start squeezing in themed magic items alongside the things that we build here. Sorry, real quick, we did not look at the bonus powers that the Drunken Master gets. Let's look at our bonus powers real quick before we actually end today's session. This is the fighter. Fighter, get through the fighter, monk, get down to the Forsaken subclasses, and then Drunken Master, soon to be. So yeah, we didn't look at the bonus powers that we get. So what do we get? We get Savage Attacker, which is a feat. It's a origin feat. I can hear myself. There, that's better. Feats. There you go, Savage Attacker. What does it do again? Let's look it up. Again, we get feats as powers. We can prepare feats. We don't gain any stat bonuses, but it doesn't have any prerequisites either. We prepare it, we can use it. Savage Attacker. Sounds like my spell. Sounds like. There we go. You're trained to deal particularly damaging strikes once per turn. When you hit a target with a weapon, you can roll the weapon's damage twice and use either roll against the target. So, hey, that's super good. Savage Attacker, it makes sense for the... Where am I at? It makes sense for the theme of what the Drunken Master is. I'm happy with that. Sap is a mastery. Let's go look at that. The Sap mastery, we can use this with any weapon. When you hit a target, you can move... Sap. You hit a target... the target you hit has disadvantage on the next attack at the start of your next turn. So we can sap people at will. Strange Metabolism is a second rank sustained power at 5th level, and Crouching Stance is a sustained power at 1st level. So let's go look at our sustained powers. And let's look at Strange Metabolism. It costs, so at 5th level, we have 2 ranks of power that we can sustain at once. So Sustained Power 1 and Sustained Power 2, that's 3 sustained powers. That actually overclocks what the monk would be able to do. So I think what I'm going to do instead is move Strange Metabolism to here, 9th level, and then take Moving Target and drop it down to 2nd. That way, the amount of sustained powers we have doesn't overclock what we can actually do. Up here, it's like Frenzied Attack is ridiculous. 17th level, it's 4 sustained powers. Like, we can't sustain all these together. That's 1, 2, 3. That's 7 out of 5. So, like, I'd have to drop Strange Metabolism if I wanted to use Frenzied Attack and Crouching Stance at the same time. But, having said that, so we know what Savage Attacker is. It's a feat. We know what the Stat Mastery is. Let's look at Crouching Stance. Crouching Stance is, when you sustain this power, you gain the following abilities. You can crawl and stand from prone without requiring additional movement, which kind of overrides the Tipsy Sway Leap to Your Feet ability. This requires 5 feet while you're prone, but if you have Crouching Stance active, it doesn't require any movement at all. You're also, attack rolls made against you while you're prone by creatures within 5 feet of you don't have an advantage. Creatures more than 5 feet away still have disadvantage. Attack rolls that you make while prone don't have disadvantage. And you gain advantage on dexterity stealth checks while you're prone. And you can crawl without reducing your movement. So you can just crawl, gain advantage on stealth, have your full normal movement, not have any disadvantages, but no one has advantage over you unless they're more than 5 feet away, they have disadvantage. So Crouching Stance, it's 1 mana. Once you turn it on, it stays on until you turn it off or it gets dispelled or you lose consciousness. At first level, or rather when you gain this subclass at third level, this is the only, you can only sustain 1 power at a time with 1 mana. By the time we get to 5th level, we got Crouching Stance at 5th level, and then we'll get Strange Metabolism at 9th. We'll have a total of 3 powers, that up to 3 mana we can sustain at once. And both Crouching Stance and Strange Metabolism will fill out those 3. So let's first look at Moving Target. It's a 2nd rank power. Is it still 2nd rank? It may have changed. Moving Target. Here it is. 2nd rank reaction. So it costs 2 mana to use it. And here's the effect. As a reaction to when a creature that you can seize moves into or within the reach of your melee weapon, you can make a weapon attack, even if the target is using the disengage action, rolling 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the attack roll. This is specifically not an opportunity attack. This is allowing us to make a special reaction costing 2 mana to attack somebody when they move within reach of my weapon. There you go. So it doesn't override. It doesn't have anything to do with opportunity attacks. It's kind of like the Sentinel feat. It has a reaction that doesn't require an opportunity attack. You just hit. It costs 2 mana to use it. Of course, we can make it efficient and drop the cost to 1. 3rd rank, Strange Metabolism, and Tripping Strike. So let's look at Tripping Strike first, since it's closer. Tripping Strike. Your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana expended, and you knock a large or smaller target creature prone. When I expend 3 or more mana, I can trip a huge-sized creature and deal 3 dice of damage. When I expend 5 mana, I can trip a gargantuan creature and deal 5 extra dice of damage to them in the process. And there's no saving throw. They're just automatically tripped, which automatically gives you advantage to attack them with future attacks. Cheers. Strange Metabolism is a 2nd rank sustained power. And it reads, while sustaining this power, you're immune to poison damage and the poison condition. In addition, as a bonus action, you can make an unarmed attack that deals 1 power die plus your strength or dexterity modifier of poison damage, and the creature is poisoned until it succeeds a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So you basically get the poison. You get there's a strike. I think it's called Poisoning Strike, which does the same thing. Poisoning Strike. It's a 2nd rank power. Your weapon can deal poison damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. In addition, the creature is poisoned, and it can attempt to end this by making a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So Strange Metabolism gives you that, but it doesn't ramp. Granted, it is a power that you dealt 1 power die of damage, and then you could add Poisoning Strike on top of it to ramp the amount of damage that it does, but it's still only 1 poisoning, 1 saving throw, same DC. Dazing Strike and Repositioning Strike. So let's go look at these. We'll look at Repositioning Strike since it's 1st rank. Repositioning Strike. Your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana channel, and you can move 5 feet per mana channel as part of the attack. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So if I deal 3 dice, if I put 3 mana into Repositioning Strike, I'll deal an extra 3 dice of damage, and I can move 15 feet without provoking an opportunity attack every time I hit with an attack. Super good for strafing with ranged attacks. Super, super good. Great for a monk or for a rogue getting out of danger. And then the other one we have is Dazing Strike. 2nd rank. Your weapon can deal psychic damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. It's going to be at least 2 mana channeled here because it's 2nd rank. The target must make a con saving throw. If it fails, it loses reactions and can only do 2 of the following: move, take an action, or a bonus action. The creature can attempt to end this effect early by succeeding a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. You know what? I think that's too powerful. The target must make a Constitution saving throw. Well, it is a con save. If it fails, it loses reactions and can do only 2 of the following: move, take an action, or bonus action. So it loses reactions and 1 of these options. And then it can attempt to end the effect early by making a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Okay, I'm good with that. Staggering Strike is 3rd rank, and then Frenzied Attack is a 4th rank sustained power. So Staggering Strike. Staggering Strike, your weapon deals psychic damage, 1 power die per mana channeled. Con save. If it fails, it can't take reactions and loses 2 of the action, bonus action, or movement. It can only do 1 of them. The target can end this effect with a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Yeah, I'm good with that. So far, I might change that to only 1 round, but I'd leave the cost the same. I'm really thinking that this needs to be reduced just until their next turn, or rather during their next turn. This is what they're reduced to. I might end up changing that. And then Frenzied Attack is the last one. Sustained Power. Fourth rank. Frenzied Attacks. While sustaining this power, you gain 1 additional attack when you take the attack action, which can be used to generate temporary mana. In addition, you gain advantage on all attack rolls. Super useful. There you go. It's 4 mana to maintain it. It's expensive, but it works. It's got a lot of work for it. Okay, that was the rest of the Drunken Master Warrior of Intoxication. That's it for today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and check out of here. I'll be back on Monday morning to do more Eberron adventure artwork. I'll be back Monday night. We're going to work on the Spelljammer, Eberron, Mecha Kaiju Bastion campaign that we're building for our February playtest campaign. And so if you think this stuff is cool, I appreciate everyone that's swung by and checked this stuff out today. If you think it's fun, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, join my Discord server, check out all my books. All those links are down below. My books all have free previews. When you check out my books, you can look at the entire thing for free. You don't buy the book to read the book. You buy the book so that I can make the next book. So if you like the ideas that you look at and you want to encourage similar behavior in the future, consider joining my Patreon, pick up a book, join my Discord server, like and subscribe. And thank you. I appreciate everyone for being here. I'm out of here for now. I'll see you guys on Monday. Cheers.